Okay, let's start. So yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Code with Geektrust weekend event. This is our Intuit special event. Thanks for joining us on a Saturday morning. Thanks for taking time out. Um, I'm Sneha. I'm one of the co-founders of Geektrust. In the next few minutes, what I'll be doing is I'll give you some context on Geektrust about this event, a little bit about Intuit, and then we will hear from our speaker today, Sudatta, more about how it is to work at Intuit, any other questions that you folks have, and then we will launch our coding challenge for the day. So while I speak or while our speaker Sudatta speaks today, if any of you have any questions, please put it on chat. We will take them during our Q&A with the Intuit team, as well as there are folks from Intuit who are on the call as well. They will answer your questions on chat. Okay, so a quick background about myself. I mostly look at product and operations at Geektrust. It's been 7 years since we started Geektrust. Before this, I used to work at ThoughtWorks. I spent about 6 years there. I have overall 13 years of experience. I started off as a software developer, and then I slowly moved on to the product side of things. After spending 6+ years at ThoughtWorks, we felt strongly that the hiring scene in India needs to change. The way we hire needs to change. And that's how the whole idea of Geektrust came along, and we started Geektrust in 2015. A little bit more about us. We essentially are a platform that connects good technologists with interesting companies. And how we make this connect is based on a developer's actual coding skills, not based on where you studied, not based on where you're working right now, not based on your marks, but based on your actual ability to write good code. When we started, we had a tough time convincing companies about this because, it is a big change and people are used to at least screening based on resumes. But it's been a very interesting journey. And today we have about 120 plus companies that are using Geektrust. We have 70,000 plus developers. And just in the last year, we've helped 500 developers find jobs. And when we started, we were mostly working with early stage startups who were willing to experiment this with us. And today, after 7 years, we are seeing a huge shift in the whole hiring landscape. And the mindset, the hiring mindset is changing across the board. So you can see from, startups like MPL, Navi, to large product companies like Intuit, Scriptbox, and, interestingly, to even large enterprises like TCS, Siemens, Accenture. Yeah, so that's what we do. And so what's different about Geektrust, right? So like I said, we ask you to show your coding skills and hence take that opportunity to show your true potential. And we work with companies who believe in this philosophy of, code is greater than your past, or code is better than your resume. And we help developers find jobs based on this, based on your actual coding skills. Now coming to this particular event, this is an exclusive hiring event with Intuit. This is our second partnership we're doing with Intuit. We had our first event in November last year. It was a great success. We had a huge participation. And at that point, we were able to fulfill about 60% of the openings at Intuit. And this is one of our users, Santosh, who was part of our last event in November. He wrote code to showcase his skills, and he joined Intuit in December. And this is what he has to say, right? Like, his code is his resume. He could demonstrate all his skills, which is very difficult to come out in just a 1-hour interview. So a bit more about the event. So like I said, we are partnering with Intuit specifically for this event. it's a special event for me personally as well. It's a brand that I have been looking up to since my ThoughtWorks days. It doesn't need an introduction, but just at a very high level, Intuit is a global platform that helps consumers and small businesses overcome their financial challenges. They serve more than 100 million customers, and they have an amazing suite of products. MailChimp being my favorite, but yeah, TurboTax, QuickBooks, Mint, and so on and so forth. In this particular edition, Intuit is looking to hire software engineers between 3 to 12 years of experience through this particular event for their specific team or for consumer group and platforms. And we'll hear more about that team and what they're looking for and what work they do from Sudatta. So before I move to Sudatta and a quick intro about him, I just want to introduce a quick social contest. So Intuit is doing a social contest. All the details will be posted in chat. You can participate in this contest, and you can stand to win really cool Intuit swag. So please follow our chat for more details on this. Now, moving on to our speaker for the day, Sudatta. Sudatta is Director of Product Development at Intuit. He joined in 2019, and he leads the virtual expert platform and go-to-market technology teams that are based out of India. Sudatta comes with over 20 plus years of rich experience, and he's had stints at LinkedIn, VeriSign. He's also held leadership positions at companies like Salesforce and Amazon before joining Intuit. He has specific experience in building highly scalable systems, and we'll hear more about him in a bit. So today he'll be talking through the work and the culture at Intuit India. And like I said, please put your questions on chat. I will be collating all of them. And once Sudatta is done with his talk, we will ask him to help us out with those questions. We also have Shekhar, Dokania, who is a staff software engineer and Sudatta's colleague, who will join us for the Q&A, and he'll also be answering some questions on chat. Yeah, so let's hear from Sudatta on what does a day as a developer in his team look like. What are the interesting things that Intuit is building in this particular quarter and for this year, and what are they expecting or from people who are joining them this year. Sudatta, over to you.
Hey, thank you, Sneha. Can you hear me? Yeah. Just give me a second. Let me just bring up my slide deck. And good morning, everyone. Sorry. Oops.
Are you trying to share screen, Sudatta?
Yeah, I'm trying to share the screen. Sorry, just trying to find the right screen to share. Okay. I guess folks can see my screen.
Yes.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your interest in Intuit, and thanks for making time on a Saturday. I'll give you a brief introduction about Intuit, what we are as a company, what do we do, and what are our values, and what are some of the exciting things that the Intuit is doing. So first, let me start with our motto, which is powering prosperity around the world. So what does that mean? And this is important for us. So our story began in 1983 when our co-founder Scott Cook was at his kitchen table and watching his wife struggle to balance the family checkbook. And he thought that there must be a better way to do this. And hence Quicken was born and revolutionizing the way people manage their money. And the story only got better from there. So how are we doing it today? For example, 4 out of 5 Americans feel like, prosperity remains out of reach today. 55% of Americans don't feel like confident in their ability to manage their finances. and so on. And so we decided that we want to spread our prosperity around the world. It has to be spread. And what it means is helping people make better financial decisions, help small businesses make their life so easier in order to run their business, manage their paychecks, or manage their accounts, manage their books, or for a person to get better refunds in taxes, or for someone to keep track of their budget in a very easy way. And building these these such products in a very intuitive way is what Intuit is all about. So who are we? We are a company that now has been around for about 38 plus years and employing about 13,000 plus employees across the globe. We are in about 10 countries and 21 locations. We are serving 100 million plus customers, and we are over $9.6 billion in revenue. And how did all of this happen? If you look at the chart below, the progression that you would see has been possible only because of the technology leaps that we have been able to make, or how we have leveraged the power of technology over and over again. You could see a lot of companies which have been around for quite a while. They tend to stagnate after a while, but that hasn't been the case with Intuit. Intuit has been able to constantly renovate itself, upgrade its stack, upgrade, how do we use technology, and then to keep moving forward. Just a little bit more on what exactly do we do, as some of you may have heard the name Intuit, but may not know what exactly does this company do, right? Some of these are our key products. So let me start with QuickBooks. So this QuickBooks is a product which helps business accounting, payroll. So businesses use QuickBooks to manage their books and run their operations pretty efficiently. TurboTax helps somebody to do their tax filing in a very easier way. Mint is a personal finance app where you would keep track of your own budgets and your spends, you get a view into your credit scores. And that's where Credit Karma comes in. Credit Karma is our recent acquisition, which helps you stay on top of your credit scores and then make better financial decisions. And then there is MailChimp, MailChimp is our most recent acquisition, which is an all-in-one marketing platform that helps small businesses to reach to their customers in very innovative ways. So these are some of our products, and this is kind of what we do. Now let's take a look at our values, right? So these are our values, and what I have seen over my years of experience is that really great companies have a very solid culture that is built on codified values, and hence it's very important to know the values and to talk about them. We really believe in these values. We talk about them. We practice them. We hold very bold, passionate discussions on these, and then we hire such people. Our environment that we have created at Intuit really encourages us to learn fast, win together, and ultimately deliver awesome. Right? So let's talk about these a bit. Courage is about the fact that we are truly bold and fearless in our thoughts and actions. We value speed and bias for action, for learning and working. And customer obsession is the pillar, right? We fall in love with our customer problems. We look to deliver unrivaled customer benefit. We sweat every detail, and hence the name Intuit. Stronger Together is about championing diversity and inclusion. Integrity and compromise goes without saying. It's about speaking the truth, assume the best interest, value, trust, and do the right thing. And of course, we care and give back. So we strengthen communities. We, in fact, have communities internally as well, which strive towards caring and giving back to the society. We do things in India, we do things in US, and across multiple other countries. So these are some of our core values. Now, let me just touch on that last part a little bit, right? Powering prosperity by giving back and what it means to us. So just internally as well, we have created 6,500 plus jobs as a result of what we have done. We have been the top 25, been among the top 25 best employers or the top 10 employers across the globe for best employers for women. And in India as well, we have been in the top 3 to be the best company to work for. And of course, even in terms of caring and the environment and the sustainability, we have reduced 105 metric tons of global carbon footprints, right? So these are some of the things that we do and we are keenly and very extremely proud of. And of course, the other key element of our Intuit culture is the diversity. Diversity, like 30% of our workforce is women. As a company, we value diversity, inclusion, and equity a lot. It is indeed a grassroots movement at Intuit. We have made a number of strides over the years, but the diversity, equity, and inclusion journey is a continuous one. And once you understand diversity, inclusion, and equity as a business imperative and not just a mindset, you will see the value that it brings to us and makes the whole environment, work environment, the company, the culture really better. So what does innovation mean to us? It's everyone's job to innovate, right? We value customer-driven innovation. We design for delight using rapid experimentation. And what should that mean to you as somebody who's interested in Intuit as an employer, right? It means we are constantly innovating. So that means you get to work on a lot of cutting edge technologies and you get to try a lot of the latest stack. And we didn't get to where we are today without innovation, right? Our customer obsessed mindset and design philosophy has really enabled us to build the most intuitive customer facing problems today. And so you will have a chance to be part of that innovation to build and release such products out to our customers. And that's going to be a really great thing. And just to give you an idea as well, I'm going to skip over one slide, but to give you an idea into our open source, here are some of our key open source contributions, right? Intuit engineers really embody these traits as we build and share solutions for our customers. And as you can see, Argo, Karate, Ben 10 are all have our employee contributions, or some of these are also contributions that we have started. You can actually go to opensource.intuit.com site and you could see and learn a lot more about this. And of course, we have a very solid record of delivering for each of the stakeholders. As you can see through all of these publications, what we do and how we have done. And of course, it's not just about you having to take Sudatta's word for it. You can also see this through how the stock market has also been seeing us, right? Just look at that stupendous growth up north. So that is also, and that doesn't happen if we didn't care for our customers. And also, we have been part of 75 Fortune's best large workplaces for millennials, where we ranked number 37, Forbes best employer for women in the top, we made it in the top 100, Glassdoor's best workplaces, and Employer's Choice are all places where we ranked in the top 100, top 50, so on and so forth, very consistently. So these are some of the cool things that we have done, and it's indeed a best place to work. But that said, I do imagine that you have a lot of questions about to learn more about what we do at Intuit and so on. So rather than to continue through my slides, I would like to hear from you what questions you have and take them on. So thank you.
Hey, thanks, Sudatta, for that. It was great to get an overview. We have a lot of questions. I will start picking a couple of them. The first one being, what does a day in the life of an SDE or a solution consultant at Intuit look like?
I think we have one of our engineers who could speak to it. Shekhar, do you want to take that question?
Sure, yeah, sounds good. Thanks for that. Yeah, so following generally a day at Intuit, so basically we follow agile development. So basically our day generally starts with a daily stand-up. Basically, we follow 2 week sprint, and generally we start our day with stand-up, where we kind of meet every day to figure out what we'll be working on and if there are any concerns and things like that. And then, yeah, generally developers get onto their task, which basically involves like, different phases of, could be anything from different phases of software development, like requirement gathering to development, from testing to, releasing the code and monitoring and also measuring. So all of that is kind of expected out of a developer at Intuit here. So we believe in taking complete ownership of our task from, like I said, from development to design to kind of rollout, and after the rollout monitoring as well. So yeah, that's where we spend most of our time. And then a lot of our work also involves collaboration with different teams. So we generally meet, we have a few meetings in a day where we kind of meet to discuss our dependencies and our roadmap and things like that. Yeah, and the interesting thing is, to avoid too many meetings, we also have 4 or 5 hours of dedicated no meeting time every day, where we basically just focus on implementing or coding, and that's been one of the really amazing part. And then also, other than that, at Intuit we spend our 10% of our daily time in doing any of our passion project, which we call as white space time, which you can use to kind of work on any of your passion project, which can be related to any area of customer problem or anything which you feel can improve where we are at. So you can pick your project on that. So that is also really another interesting thing, right? So yeah, other than all these work related stuff, when we are in office, we generally, as a team, all of us spend our lunches together. We have an amazing cafeteria where we kind of meet group together during the lunch time and have our lunch together. And then post that, we generally follow it up with fun activities, like everyone plays for some time, like a TT or foosball or video games or whatnot, right? So yeah, we spend half an hour or an hour every day, depending on the workload. So that's the fun part. And then yeah, we generally have our team meetings and team outings, which we keep doing and things like that. So yeah, this is how we kind of go about our day. Anything specific?
Related to that, a very interesting question. So someone's asked, with such a beautiful campus, do you allow work from home for everyone?
So we follow a flexible approach, right? Yeah, Sudatta, please. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Thanks. I think as a company, we have declared that we are going to follow a hybrid model. What it means is folks are expected to be in Bangalore and attend office sometime in a week or in a month or so. The exact mechanics of this is still being figured out, and it's left to the teams levels to figure out how they want to operate. So it's not going to be all remote work, but folks are expected to be back in campus, but not full time, or definitely not going to be like the pre-COVID times. So that's kind of where we are, and we are also open about it in terms of the expectation, as well as the fact that we don't know exactly how this works yet.
Yeah, I think most companies are in the same boat. Yeah, that makes sense. The next one is, people want to know, do you have ideas of what are the next set of products that are upcoming in the next decade, and especially in the Web 3.0 space?
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities, right? Even Web 3.0, of course, as someone who has seen like multiple iterations of web as well, I don't know if there's again a standard definition of Web 3.0, but that said, I'll speak about a couple of things. If you could just Google for Intuit big bets, and then you'll find what are the areas that we have big bets on, and those are all out in public, right? Number one is how do we leverage AI and ML to help our customers make faster decisions. Number two, and that's my favorite area because I work on it, obviously I have a vested interest, is connecting people to experts. And I'll speak about that a little bit. What it means is, say, a few years back or a couple of decades back, when I started working, my taxes were very simple. I would just get a Form 16 when I was in US at that time. So it's a W2, which is equivalent of Form 16. I would just buy a TurboTax license, and then I would just type my Form 16 equivalent, and then my taxes would be done. over the years, my life started to get complicated. I had kids, I got stocks, bought a house. So at some point, my tax form filling in itself started to become cumbersome, and I didn't know whether I'm making the right entries, or I didn't have the right confidence to say whether I'm getting the right refund. So at some point, I felt like I needed to speak to an expert. So I moved away from TurboTax. I went and gave it to a tax consultant. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. Very similar stories happen with small businesses as well. Now, what does that mean? That means that like there's a need for an expert, be it as a point in time need or a continuous need to engage, or you may want the expert to do everything. And so Intuit hires these experts. And so that means that the experts and the customers, they need collaboration capabilities. Then on the other side, what does it mean to have these experts? Then we need to manage these experts. So that we need additional tools for the experts to talk to the customers. Then you need additional layers of infrastructure to manage them. So on and so forth, right? So this connecting people to experts in itself is a fairly vast domain, which is one of the areas where we are working on. And coming back to Web 3.0, this is again something that we are very keenly following and trying to see what are all the areas. So, for example, just understanding the crypto and all of the related world in itself is very essential for our business, because we deal in fintech, and so this is our business and this is the domain that we are in, and so we need to understand at least what's happening in the space, what kind of tools do we need to provide to our customers, as well as how do, when they use such tools, how do their businesses run, are all things that we need to be plugged in. So there is a lot more exciting innovation that's happening in the space. So yeah, once you're part of Intuit, you'll learn a lot more about it.
Sounds super interesting. Sudatta and Shekhar, the next most asked question is the interview process. So after they clear the coding challenge, what is the interview process at Intuit?
So the interview process is what we call an assess for awesome, which is also an A4A, or we call it an A4A. So where you would be given a problem statement, and you'd be given time, of course, to craft your solution. And it's going to be like almost a real world-ish problem. And you're expected to come prepared with a presentation or code, as well as some kind of a design artifact to show how you have approached the problem, what are your design considerations, and show us the code. And I think there'll be some questions back and forth on that, and there'll be a couple more rounds following that. That pretty much is the process. Bharat, feel free to add or correct anything.
And typically, how long does this process take?
Bharat, do you want to take that? Sneha, I think Bharat needs to be unmuted.
Yes.
Yep, thank you. I think the process-wise, as Sudatta said, I think if shortlisted from this event, we will have the interviews scheduled. And as a candidate, you need to spend about 3 to 4 hours, and we'll try to wrap it up in the same day.
Okay. And I'll take one last question. People want to know, are there specific things you look at when you look at code in terms of any specific parameters or anything that you expect that will give them a heads up?
Shekhar, you want to take that?
Sure. Yeah. So to start with, how we look at is how you kind of approach the solution, right? Like approach the problem in general, right? Like, I mean, how detailed you went into the problem. And then in terms of code, what we look at is how have you thought about the edge cases, and is it performant enough? Have you thought of the scalability of it, testability of the code, and things like that? So basically, we focus a lot on operational excellence overall. So basically, your code has to be survive for scale and should have all the different quality parameters in it, so, and performance parameters in it. So that's what we evaluate against.
Got it. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to quickly summarize a lot of these things for the people here, because I think I'm seeing some repeat questions. So quickly, the openings that we have at Intuit right now for this particular event is software engineer 2 and senior software engineer, essentially between 3 to 12 years of experience, mostly looking at Java for the senior role and Java or Python for the junior role. And the process would be you solve the Geektrust coding challenge today. And once you clear the Geektrust coding challenge, the interviews at Intuit will be set up over the next couple of days and closing out the process by end of the week, hopefully. Yeah. Thank you, Sudatta, Shekhar, and Bharat for your time. It was great to hear about Intuit. So
thank you. Thanks for the opportunity and all the best wishes to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. So now I'm quickly going to walk through the next steps, and we will then launch the coding challenge. And you can then start with the coding challenge. Just 1 minute. Yeah, can everyone see my screen? Okay, cool. So this is a new coding challenge that we are launching today, and this is specific to this Intuit event. It's called the expense management. All of you all will get a mail with more details on this. It's also live now on our website. So please solve this coding challenge. And I'm repeating again, for the 3 to 5 years, 3 to 6 years software engineer 2 position, you can solve this either in Java or in Python. And for the senior opening, 6 to 12 years, you will have to solve this only in Java. Once you've solved the coding problem, you can go to the Geektrust website. There is a submit code button on the header, and that will take you through the upload code process. And what we expect is you upload all the source files in either one of these formats, zips or gz. Please exclude node modules, libraries, or any other executables from this. You can test your code for input output as well as certain parameters on our website. So when you click on that submit code and upload, you can test it. So you can test it multiple times. Please test it and then submit your code. Plagiarism will receive a lifetime ban on the Geektrust platform. So please do not try this. And submission deadline is today, 10 p.m. So please submit your code by 10 p.m. tonight. And these are the things that you need to keep handy. Again, we will be mailing you with all these details. But if you get stuck, you can visit help.geektrust.in or mail us at help@geektrust.in. And lastly, we're also available on WhatsApp throughout the day today for any support that you need. Yeah. Thank you everyone for attending this. We will keep the chat open for some more time to take more questions. But yes, you can get started with your coding challenges. All the best.